right, and I think this slide we've already talked about. That's healing, parallel processing. Okay, we've talked about this one, I think. You can just go on. That's learn to meditate in difficult situations. Fear and negative beings is next. A lot of times they're the same thing. A lot of times the negative beings you're going to run into are really just representations of your own fear. There's no difference between the fear and negative beings. Sometimes there is a difference. It's not you, it's from outside of you. Your fear allows a negative being to make a connection with your energy. Okay? Fear is a handle by which you can be easily manipulated. Any marketer who's selling products, any politician who's trying to get you to vote for him knows how to use fear, your fear, as a handle to manipulate you. You know, if you buy this beer or wear these clothes, the girls will all like you, or the guys will all like you, this sort of thing. Well, it's working on a fear that you have of needing to be liked, not being liked enough. So they work on that fear to manipulate you to give them your money, buy their products. Most of marketing is about manipulating people's fears. Most of politics is about manipulating people's fears. You go into the larger consciousness system, and it's the same sort of thing. If you have fear, like I have here, fear is like a kick me sign. If you go there and you have fear, you're just asking to run into things that are frightening. Things happen. Some of it's self-created, some of it's not. Now, if something that's outside of you, if you might want to put it this way, attacks you or gives you some kind of negative, you only accept that. You can accept that or reject that energy. You accept it if you have fear. If you have fear, it connects with your fear immediately. Oh, that person did something to me. Uh-oh, I bet it's going to do this or that or the other. It's just your fear accepts the result, allows the result to take place. If you're fearless, you become much more invulnerable to any outside manipulation because you don't have that handle by which you can be manipulated. So that's why it's good not to be fearful. That's why you often will get a fear test to see if you're ready to get into this reality frame. It is very unlikely that anything will hurt you. Fear will ruin your ability to interpret your experience accurately. Fear will inhibit your ability to learn and grow from your experience. And gaining access is a self-balancing situation. You generally don't get to where you don't belong. If you're not ready to get into this reality frame or this kind of information, then generally you can't get there. So you don't have to worry about stumbling into some awful place that's out of your depth and that you can't handle. You generally are only going to get into places and into experiences that you can deal with, right? This is a learning lab. This is a schoolhouse. No one is trying to terrorize you. They're just trying to help you grow up. So you will get fear tests, but it's things that you can handle. So don't worry too much about stumbling into something that's beyond your capacity to deal with. You won't get there until you're ready for it. Now, what I'm telling you is generally true. Again, we don't say always or never when we're dealing with consciousness. Almost anything can happen, and sometimes it will. But in the most case, what I'm telling you is true. There is no real threat to you when you do this. It'll work out just fine. This one's important. You need to stay balanced. There are some people who feel very motivated to work on a spiritual path, and they kind of neglect everything else. They meditate 5 and 6 hours a day. They practice their out of body and other kinds of things, hours a day. They dedicate their life to this, and generally that is unbalanced. There are people who are just the opposite. They never have a thought for anything other than the material world that they're living in. That's unbalanced. a lot more people on that side than there are on the other. But still, what you need to do is remember why you're here. Why are you in this reality frame? The reason you're in this reality frame is not to get out of it. The reason you're in this reality frame is to experience, to have to deal with whatever happens to you. Deal with it. Deal with it gracefully. Live with uncertainty. Grow with your open-minded skepticism. That's why you're here. This is a learning place. So you don't want to let this go. You want to pay attention to this. Your relationships here are very important. How you interact with people is very important, because that's where a lot of your choices come from that are key for your growth. So stay balanced. Balanced in your time that you put into non-physical exploration or meditation, and the time that you put in with interacting with people, with getting out and mixing it up in this world. It's not a good idea to grow unevenly. Now, there are people that will go sit in a cave for 20 years and meditate. Well, they may have learned a whole lot of manipulation of that meditation, and they may have gained some insight. But I will say that it's very likely you bring them out into a society full of people. If you drop them on a city street in London or in New York or in Tokyo, they will be unable to cope, unable to deal. They will be retarded in their social functions, their interactions with people. They will have missed a whole lot. So they'll be real grown in this side of their being and not grown at all on another side of their being. It's better to grow the whole being. So we need to be balanced. We need to be balanced in our right-left dominance too. Most of us are left-brained because that's the kind of culture we're in. We are in a very linear processing culture. We need to develop our right brain and not have the two fight with each other. As it is now, the left-brain people all think the right-brain people are a little flaky, right? And the right-brain people think all the left-brain people are totally lost in their detail, in their meaningless detail. Well, instead of struggling, you need to be a whole-brain person that has an active and very capable right-brain, big-picture view of things, and left-brain that can do some logical processing so that you find your way home at night and balance your checkbook and do all the other things that you need to do in raising a family and working at a job and so on. So you need to be both, not one or the other. Okay, so remember why you're here. Having an operational awareness in the non-physical may help you understand the larger reality, but it's not fundamental to your purpose. All right. So what do you need to know about the future? Absolutely nothing. You don't need to know anything at all about the future. Why not? Because the way it works here is that stuff happens and you deal with it. That's the way it works. And the way you deal with it is by making choices. How do you react to it? How do you deal with the stuff that happens? Good stuff, bad stuff, scary stuff, all kinds of stuff. It happens. And you deal with it. You learn by dealing with it in a way that is caring, loving, productive for you. It lowers your entropy, raises the quality of your consciousness. That's the way it works. So why would you want to know about the future? So that you can manipulate it, so that it would be more the way you like it, so it would be more pleasant. Everybody that's real close to you would be happy and healthy all the time. You see, now you're basically playing a game. You're messing with your own growth in the sense that now you have you're artificially manipulating what happens, the stuff that happens, and you have to deal with it. Now it's not just stuff happening, it's stuff that you're encouraging to happen. So you don't really need to know anything about the future. Just let it happen and deal with it. That's good enough. You'll learn. The point of being here isn't to feel good. That's not why you're here. It's to feel good and get as much money as you can and drink as much beer as you can and have as many friends as you can, and that sort of thing is not what it's about. It's about growing up. So once you start manipulating your own experiences, that begins to limit yourself. It's so much easier just to deal with it the way it comes. Make the most out of it. Now, we have a lot of people who get really wound up on 2012 and other terrible things that are going to happen. I remember a few years back, all the moon and the sun and a bunch of planets were all lined up, and it was going to make the earth slosh. And there's always a tragedy about to happen, and terrible things, and ends of the world happen regularly. Every couple of years there's something that's terrible predicted. A lot of this is just an expression of fear. The more people who believe that 2012 is going to be a terrible, terrible time, the more likely it is to be a terrible, terrible time, because they're modifying the future probability toward a terrible time. We get to make our own reality, and after we make it, we have to live in it, you see, and deal with it. So what do you need to know about the future? Hardly anything. What do you need to know about 2012? Nothing in particular. Most important thing about 2012 is that it takes up the space between 2010, 2011 and 2013. Otherwise it'd be a big hole there. It's not important to deal with that. Now, are there likely to be big earth changes, earthquakes, things like that in the future? Sure there will. That's the way it is. You're liable to have those. Is one likely to happen, say, where I live out on the West Coast? I don't live in the West Coast, but in my country, on the West Coast of the USA, and in Japan and places like that, on that ring of fire where there's all this, that's where the tectonic plates are bumping into each other? Sure. And might some of them be devastating, kill millions of people? Sure. And might there be other earthquakes, places that there really aren't many now? Can happen. Okay. Is there a lot of uncertainty as to when? Yes. Can we manipulate that uncertainty to make it sooner? If we want to, but I don't understand why we'd want to do that. Doesn't seem like a good idea. So you don't need to get too excited about or too worked up in fear that has to do with either conspiracy theories, because there's lots of fear out there about all the things that they are going to do to us. And doesn't mean that there is no such thing as a conspiracy, or there isn't a they that's doing things to us. There are plenty of people who would like to manipulate you. You say, we've already talked about politicians and advertisers, right? There's two big groups that work very hard to manipulate you all the time. The point is that it doesn't really matter. Stuff happens, we deal with it. That's the way the game's played. Listen to your intuition. Some of you may not really feel like you have an intuition, or you don't trust it. That's because you haven't used it. It's just like the rest of these things. You can develop it. You develop it by working with it. Work with your intuition. If you get intuition and it says that maybe I should turn left here instead of the way I usually go right. Well, do it and see what happens. Rather than saying, oh no, that's ridiculous. That'd take me an extra 5 minutes to get home. Work with it. See what happens. Maybe nothing will happen. Or maybe you find out that you miss a clogged street in an accident, or that you come by something that's significant to you. So just start paying attention to your intuition. Start acting on it, and then improve it. Oh, when I got this kind of intuitive feeling, it really didn't work out. Nothing much happened. When I got that kind of intuitive feeling, or I got it in that situation, gee, it really works out great. This is your learning. This is your learning how to access that interface to the larger consciousness system. You'll get better at it with practice. Also, all these horrible things that are going to happen, you really need to have a different attitude toward death. Death is just you changing virtual realities. You're in this virtual reality, you die, become aware in another virtual reality, not this virtual reality. Then generally after that, you make some plans to come back to this virtual reality because this is the fast track learning lab. That's what you're in right now. This is where the learning is fastest and most obvious because of the rule set that we have. Okay, so, all right, we're going to have an earthquake, and we all might die. Something's going to crash, and a meteor's going to crash into the earth, right? That's another one, right? And we're all going to die. Okay, so what? It's just not that big a deal. Okay, just don't worry about it. Death happens. Eventually we'll all end up there, right? So it really just doesn't matter. What's important is that you live your life in a way that maximizes your learning. That's what's important. Okay, so let the death fear go. It's not all that important. It's just a change of state. Okay, hopefully you have your answer sheets from last time that you'll be able to continue to use. We'll be starting this time, I think, with experiment number 6. I believe we went through 5 last time, so we'll be starting on 6. Okay, now we're going to run through some of these same things that we did last time. They'll mean a little more to you now since you had the last time's experience to focus you. You need to focus your intent without process. We're not going to do any ritual. We're not going to do a lot of preparation. We're going to, again, do a minimal set. I don't want to be disparaging of whatever rituals or processes you use. Please feel welcome to use them some other time. But now, just follow along with this and see how it goes. Some people need ritual, others don't. Okay, we're going to parallel process some more, multitask. I'm going to go very quickly again. I don't want to give you time to think about it. If I give you too much time to operate on it, you will, and you'll get your intellect engaged if you have too much time. So we'll just move along very quickly. Just do it, get the answer, write it down, go on, and keep moving. If you get behind, then don't let that upset you. Just let go of what you're doing and catch back up. Just start wherever we are. It's important to have no expectations. Don't feel that you have to get them right. You just do whatever you do and look at it later and see what it is. Okay? It's not like, okay, now we're all trying to get the right answer. And that's what we're really doing here. And if you don't get the right answer, you failed. Get rid of that kind of a thought. It's not like that. You're just seeing what happens, and then you're looking at what the results are. Very dispassionate. Your scientist just going to see what's going to happen. Remember, when we use these identifications, when I give you directions, you have to be specific in your intent. You have to hold those intents. You're still holding that intent that this is the health energy body while you're also twisting that energy body around. So you kind of stack all these intents up, keep them all in your mind, that this is what you're doing and this is what it means and that's what that symbol is and that's what that metaphor is. Keep those all in your mind at the same time. Let's see. We're going to generate some different tools this time. Let's see. I think we've done all these already. We're going to look at emotional and spiritual energy bodies that we didn't do last time. And that should be interesting. We're going to do a little output. We're going to do some graphical output formatting this time, just so you have an idea. I've done it once before. Once you've done something once, it's much easier to do it again. So we're running through this process. We're going to manipulate time. We're going to go forward and backward in time. Okay. So what I'm going to start, you remember how we did it? We're just going to start, and I'm going to begin with a little warm-ups for your imagination, just to get your mind and imagery or your feeling or however you do this, just to kind of get it warmed up. So you can take a deep breath and take about 30 seconds to relax, to listen to your environment, and then let go. Anything in your environment that's might be distracting. Whatever you might hear, just let it go. It's not important. Focus on my voice. My voice should be 100% of your awareness. Just follow the directions. Okay, imagine that you are riding in a speedboat. Riding in a speedboat. Now imagine it with two perspectives. One where you're on the boat and one where you're on the shore, off the boat, watching yourself ride in the speedboat. Imagine that you see a beehive. Zoom in on a bee. Become the bee and go inside. While you're inside the hive, interact. Walk into a bakery. Take a deep breath. Breathe in the smell. Walk around. Look at the wares that are there for sale. Now run your hand over a soft fur coat. Feel the texture. Imagine a health energy body with lung cancer. Now imagine one with a dysfunctional kidney. Imagine one with a brain tumor. Imagine one with the flu. Now imagine one that has no health problems at all. Now look at your own health energy body. Notice the state of your health and the state of your mind, your feelings. Now look at the health energy body of a significant other. Notice the state of your mind and your feelings. Take a look at the emotional body of someone who is happy and feeling terrific. Now look at someone who's feeling sad. Now look at the emotional body of someone who is very angry. Next, someone who is depressed and suicidal. Now look at the emotional body of a couple falling in love. Now look at your own emotional body, the way it is now. Now look at it the last time you were angry. Notice whether looking at your own body is more difficult. Okay, now look at the spiritual body of a saint, of a homicidal maniac, of a drug addict, of the average person. Now look at your own spiritual body. Lastly, look at the spiritual body of a significant other. Okay, you've just been calibrated. It's the end of the imagination thing. You've just been calibrated and have produced your own output criteria in terms of your own metaphors. Okay, for all of these things we talked about, you now have an idea of what your metaphor for those things are. What does a couple in love look like? What does somebody who's suicidal look like? You've just created your own output format metaphors. That's what these things mean to you. Okay, so now when you see those things, you'll know what they mean. All right. Okay, open your eyes and come back if those of you who are not, the imagination part's done. What I wanted to, that's just a warm-up. We haven't actually started the experiments yet. It's just a warm-up. One of the things I wanted to note, when you looked at yourself, when you looked at a significant other, often there's a difference, and the difference is because we have emotional investment in ourselves and significant others. We're no longer just looking as an independent, non-involved outsider. So if you notice that there's a difference there, that was difficult, you tend to second guess your own spiritual energy body a lot more than you would if you're looking at somebody that you don't know. So that's then a piece of ego or a piece of fear that you need to work on, if there was a difference there for you. It's often more difficult to do that. Okay. All right. Now what I've found, and the reason I do those exercises are two reasons. One, when you're doing the speedboat on and off, you hear the engine, you can smell the water, you have all of that, the beehive, the walk into the bakery, smell what a bakery smells like. People usually have no problem with that. They can get all that imagery, they can smell the smells, they can go to the beach and they can feel the sand, they can smell the salt spray, they can hear the seagulls. All of that comes back real clear as long as you have that in your experience. And even things you don't have in your experience, like riding an elephant, you can do that sort of thing too, because it's easy to imagine what that's like. Okay? But then when I ask you to look at a health energy body, often that's a lot more difficult. You see, but all we're doing is using our imagination to make the gingerbread shape, because that's our output format, and then we're asking the larger system to give us data out of the database by coloring that system with black spots or whatever it is we decide. Okay. So the difference between using your imagination and it being successful and seeing an energy body is really very small. You're using your imagination for the tools, the energy beam, the light beam. That's just your imagination. And we're going to use some other tools. Okay? You can create these tools just like that, just that easily. It's no problem at all. Same with the gingerbread outline. You can make these tools real easily. And then you just ask for the data. Now, you're not supposed to imagine the data, right? When you ask for the data, where are the black spots? That's not, your imagination shouldn't be filling in the black spots. You ask for the data and you just wait for it. Let it come and be open to it. But people often have less trouble with their imagination when they call it an imagination and it's not part of a process of healing, because it's easier, there's less pressure. It's not like, am I doing it right? Okay, let's see. I think we've been through the right approach. It's important. Approach is really everything. Don't try to do it. Let it happen. Let it come to you. Participate. See what happens. Open-minded skepticism. Get into it. Be immersed. Ignore the background. No expectations. No intellectual control. No analysis. Forget about the answers making sense. Forget about trying to make pattern match what you get so it turns into something that's familiar to you. Just write down what you see. Beliefs are the main limitation. Need to make it make sense is another big limitation. Don't worry over process or details. Get comfortable, shift around. We're going to go back and forth a bunch of times. Now, this next slide is we did at the end. After we did these last time, we looked at the slide. So you could look at it in retrospect of why things might not have worked for you. But now I want to look at it ahead of time so you can be familiar with the things not to do, with the things that'll block it and make it difficult before you try the second time, because you've had some experience now. Okay, your major problems are noise, chatter, analysis, guessing. Your focus wavers, your attention wavers. Holding multiple intents in a steady focus, fear of being wrong, belief, inability to remain a detached observer. Those are the things that are the hardest things for you to do. Not the pattern match, just report what you get. Don't try to make sense out of it. All right, this time we're going to have 8 exercises. And we're going to have 2 of the freebies where you get to just do it your own way, however you want. So you get to put these tools together, diagnosing tools and healing tools together in however way it comes to you. So you get a little independent practice on it. So there are going to be 8 exercises and 2 of the do it on your own. And again, I make the announcement for the people who will be watching this a year or 2 or 3 or 5 years later on a video. Intend that you're looking at these people and remote viewing objects as they were on November 6, 2011. Your efforts to diagnose and heal will work just as well, because you'll be working from a historical database that will have all this data in it just as it is now, if you have that intent. Okay. All right, so now relax. Again, we're going to start in about 30 seconds. Get comfortable. Let everything go. Experiment 6. See or imagine a 3D humanoid outline, something like a thick gingerbread cookie. Intend clearly that this humanoid outline represents the physical health energy body of Anna H, as it is at this moment. Then hold that intent. Intend clearly that the energy that represents health in this energy body be white, and what represents a health problem be dark. The more serious the problem, the darker the energy looks. Now hold that intent. Intend that the humanoid shape's back is facing you, so its right side is now the same as your right side. Notice where the dark areas are most dark. With your attention on the dark spots, rotate the image of your viewing angle so that you are looking at the side view. Then shift around to the front view. Without losing your altered state, open your eyes and roughly draw what you have seen. Then immediately return to viewing the health energy body of Anna H. You may repeat the last few steps and check to see if you get the same thing. Make sure you have drawn it more or less correctly. Make corrections as needed. Now return to viewing the energy body Watch the health body as you clearly intend that the energy body no longer represents the state of Anna H's health at this moment, but it now represents the health of this person yesterday. Then use your intent to slip back in time one more day, and then another. Now similarly, move backwards in time 1 week at a time until you see the black spots disappear. Keep track of the number of weeks that pass. If the black spots do not fade, go back a year at a time, and so on. When the dark spots do fade away, determine how long ago that was. If you lose count of where you are, start over. When you get to where the illness started, look at the energy body just as the illness began to manifest within the body, and at that moment, use your high-powered light energy beam to heal the illness before it dominates the body. Now slowly move back to the present time, one increment at a time, making sure the ailment does not reinsert itself between then and now. If you find the illness was reinserted, pause there at that time and heal it again. Proceed like this until you work yourself back to the present moment. Now use the beam to make the entire energy body glow with intense white light. Make the white light so bright that it hurts your eyes. Then put on some sunglasses and turn the brightness up even further. Intend that this energy body remains super bright, healthy white for a long, long time. Intend that the energy you have placed on Anna H's body is so great that it will maintain the energy body in a brilliant state for a long time, and hold that intent. Now, using your intent in the same way, given what we have accomplished with our healing efforts, watch this health energy body as you increment time into the probable future for at least 5 years. Remember what you see. Now clearly intend to see this data in graphical format. A graph of predicted future health versus time. On the vertical y-axis is the probability of excellent health going from 0 at the origin to a maximum of 1. On the horizontal axis, the x-axis, time goes from the present moment at the origin to a maximum value of 5 years. Now, clearly intend that the time scale extend out to 10 years. Remember what you have seen. Without losing your altered state, open your eyes and roughly draw what you have observed. Experiment 7. See or imagine a 3D humanoid outline. Intend clearly that this humanoid outline represents the health energy body of Kelly X as it exists at this moment. Then hold that intent. Intend clearly that the energy that represents health in this energy body be white, and what represents a health problem be dark. The more serious the problem, the darker the energy looks. Then hold that intent. Intend that the humanoid shape's back is facing you. Its right side is now the same as your right side. Hold that intent. Notice where the dark areas are and which are most dark. With your attention on the dark spots, rotate the image of your viewing angle so that you are looking at the side view, then the front view. Without losing your altered state, open your eyes and roughly draw what you have seen. Then immediately return to viewing the health energy body of Kelly X. Now, use some fireplace tongs to grab any black spots and drop them into the large, sturdy, unbreakable jar sitting just to your right. After all the black spots are in the jar, toss the fireplace tongs into the jar and fasten the lid on tightly. Expand the jar or shrink the tongs as necessary. Now toss the jar into a sun where all of its contents are instantly evaporated and disconnected into elementary atoms and free particles. Around the edges where the black had been, use a portable vacuum cleaner to get rid of any lingering gray places. Alternatively, you may use rubber gloves and a scalpel, dropping what you cut away, again, into a jar. You may use a blowtorch, acid, or a laser to remove any additional gray area. Now, if you use the vacuum, scalpel, or gloves, when you are done, use your intent to toss everything, including scalpel and gloves, into a safe, strong container, and then toss the container with everything in it into the sun to be destroyed. Now use your intent to direct a beam of high-powered, intensely bright white light to make the entire energy body of Kelly X grow with intense light. But intend that the light itself pick the color that it should use for optimal long-term healing. Next, intend that the light itself will pick the color that it should use for optimal short-term healing. Continue until all the once dark places are glowing brightly and the entire energy is clean and bright. Intend that this energy body remains super bright and healthy for a long time. Pick a sun from the universe, compact it to the size just a little larger than the energy body itself, and place it in the energy body. Intend that the energy you have placed within this body is so great that it will keep the energy body healthy for a very long, long time, and hold that intent. On your own, use what you have learned to diagnose and heal Louisa G. When you are done, simply float in the void for a moment. On your own, use what you have learned to diagnose and heal Carlos C. When you are done, simply float in the void for a moment. Okay, experiment 8. see or imagine a 3D humanoid outline. Intend clearly that this humanoid outline represents the health energy body of Jose Z as it exists at this moment, and hold that intent. Intend clearly that the energy that represents health in this energy body be white, and that what represents a health problem be dark. The more serious the problem, the darker the energy looks. Hold that intent. Now, clearly intend that the image of the health energy body change to represent the emotional, egoic, or feeling energy body. Look at the patterns and colors within Jose Z's emotional body and remember what you've seen. Now clearly intend that the image of this feeling energy body change to represent the spiritual energy body, a body that represents the spiritual quality of Joseph Z. Look at the patterns and colors within Joseph Z's spiritual energy body. Remember what you have seen. Without losing your altered state, open your eyes and roughly draw what you have seen of Jose Z's health, emotional, and spiritual bodies. And immediately return floating in the void. Okay, experiment 9. I have a box with a big 9 on it. Intend to have an image of the item that was intended to be in the box put on a screen or monitor in front of you. Remember what you see. Now put that aside and move your vision to the box, and with no expectations of what you might see, look through the box to view the object that was intended to be there. Now put that result aside Next, get a sense or feel for the utility of the object. What does it do? What is its use and function? See it in its natural environment being used. Without losing your altered state, open your eyes and write down or draw what you saw each time, then immediately return to floating in the void. Experiment 10. Intend to go to a spot on the surface of the earth that has these coordinates: 27.174799 degrees north and 78.042111 degrees east. Look around. What do you see there? Without losing your altered state, open your eyes and write down or draw what you saw. Then immediately return to float in the void.